Well, a judge has ordered that the Matric results may be published this week. Lobby group AfriForum, Maroela Media and a matriculant made an urgent application. Well, this came after the Department of Basic Education said they will not publish in order to comply with the POPI Act. Well, let's cross now to Manqoba Mchunu, who is at the North Gauteng High Court. Manqoba, thank you so much for joining us. Just take us through AfriForum's case and what the judge actually said.
Indeed, Annika, well, it was quite a short court hearing here at the North Gauteng High Court. Of course, we did hear from rights group AfriForum making the case for the Matric results to be published on the media platforms. You'll recall that this has been a tradition, Annika, for many years. And of course, AfriForum saying that there is really no pertinent reason why, for the first time, the Matric results will not be published on newspapers this year. And they're saying that what should be considered is the interest of the learners. We do know that some of the learners, of course, may have moved from where they had written their final examinations. And so the argument was that some of those learners would not be able to access their Matric results. We recall that the Department of Basic Education had indicated that due to the POPIA Act, or the provision of Personal Information Act, the protection, of Personal Information Act, it will therefore not be publishing those Matric results, saying that learners will need to go to their various schools to access those results and statements. But what the argument here in court was that this is in the public interest for these Matric results to be published, and therefore AfriForum making a case before the court that they want an order to be granted for that to happen this coming Friday. But just to unpack it a bit more, I'm joined now by Vili Spies from AfriForum. Vili, thank you for your time. Let's start here, your reaction to the court case being granted this particular order by the court.
Thank you. I'm actually the attorney acting for AfriForum. AfriForum is also here. We are very happy about the outcome of the case. What we saw was actually individual learners with a specific problem on the one hand. On the other hand, a more important principle, and that's the principle of the freedom of the press, freedom of the media, the right to receive information and the right to gain certain knowledge. We could not allow the state to monopolize that access to information. It is important that information needs to be shared. We need to have a transparent system. We need to have a system which makes available information to all interested groups in various ways in order to ensure, and it's been described in the POPI Act as a free flow of information. The free flow of information is critically important in any democracy, and those were the principles that we actually tried to protect and which we gladly succeeded today. Obviously, we appreciate the fact that the Minister took good legal advice and she decided not to oppose. We appreciate the fact that from the Minister's side we actually got a different perspective than from what we normally get in public interest litigation. It could have been very easy for the Minister to brief advocates and to put up a big fight and to try and frustrate this process. So while we are glad about the victory, we are also glad about the wisdom that was displayed by the Minister herself in dealing with this matter.
Let's talk about those arguments that you presented in court. Of course, one of them was the fact that this is a matter of public interest and that, in a democratic country, the issue of openness should also be considered. Take us through some of those arguments that you presented in court.
Yes. It's critically important that with the publication of Matric results, it's not only just a question of results. There are certain statistics. We need to see where we stand. Education is so important. It's critically important for the future of this country that we make progress with regards to education. The only way to manage education is to measure education. And the Matric results, par excellence, is a measurement of where we stand on the road towards good quality education for every South African living here and having kids. That's what we need to aim for, and for that reason, that was the argument. Those results need to be disseminated. We need to see how did provinces perform, how did the different schools perform, where do we need to give more attention to a certain school, where do we need to give more support to certain schools to uplift them and to ensure that if there's a lower pass rate, that next year the pass rate will be better. Those are the things that are critically important in a well-functioning community. And that's why the free flow of information is so important, and that's why it's important not to grant a monopoly to the state, to say the state on its own will hold this information and make it available.
And so what does this mean? We know that the matric results are coming this Friday. Does this mean that we're going to see them on newspapers as traditionally so as we've seen?
I do think so, because from what I understand and from my discussions with newspapers during the course of this litigation, I realized that this is critically important also for the success of a newspaper. The newspaper that is published on the day of the matric results traditionally is the one best-selling newspaper throughout the year. That's the one bestseller, and there's a good reason for that. There are 1 million matriculants. Those matriculants do not only want to see their results, they also want to learn about opportunities. They want to learn about tertiary institutions. They want to learn about bursary funds who could make bursaries available to them. They want to learn about job opportunities. And that single newspaper containing the matric results is an excellent source of information for job opportunities, for bursary opportunities, for study opportunities, and it's a service that's been delivered to matriculants. The newspapers will most certainly carry on with that. I'm sure they are also glad with us.
Okay, thank you very much for speaking to us. Really speaking to us there, just following that court decision. Well, as you understand from what he had said, the education department, the basic education department, had not, in fact, opposed this particular application, and therefore that order was granted by Judge Millar just earlier on. It is going to be issued later on, and essentially saying that the matric results will then be published this coming Friday.
Thank you, Manqoba.